Learn the new rules for the office.
No nice eyes?
That's right, John. No more compliments. And the new rules in school. This teacher was fired for allowing uncensored discussions.
These words were uttered in a maritime college classroom? I said, yeah.
And speakers with unpopular views are shouted down and driven off.
Who are you to decide for everybody?
But should anything go? Even books that can give anyone the know-how to blow up a building?
That's a fun book. Setting off explosives can be very recreational.
This is your chance to find out how you really feel about your right to speak your mind. You can't say that. What's happening to free speech? With John Stossel.
In America, over the past few decades, more people in power seem to have come to believe it's their job to stop dangerous speech or hateful speech. Sounds reasonable. Wouldn't that create a kinder, more civil society? But what really happens if you censor speech?
Black power!
And here's another problem. Who gets to decide which speech is stopped?
You can't stop me from calling the white man the devil.
Khalid Mohammed's a racist who, in the last 2 years, has organized rallies in Harlem he calls the Million Youth March.
It wasn't a youth anything, it was a hate march.
New York's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, said they could not march because they're a violent hate group.
But oh, no good Giuliani is afraid of young black men and women hearing the message of black power.
Judges said the mayor had no right to stop the marches. One of 15 times the courts have overruled Giuliani. Mohammed's march went on, as did this rally by white racists. And when the mayor tried to stop this taxi protest, hundreds of cabbies just got out of their cars and marched into the city anyway.
Giuliani is a danger to America. He's trying to tamper with the American Constitution.
Giuliani wouldn't talk to us about this, but to give the mayor his due, the city's in great shape today. Crime's been cut in half, and the streets, where fewer people are screaming at us, are more pleasant. Most people like what Giuliani did, but some, like Robert Letterman, suggest it's not worth the cost.
Real quality of life is not about not being bothered. It's about civil liberties. It's about freedom of speech.
Letterman's a street artist who sells these pictures portraying Giuliani as Hitler, making New York into a police state. For doing this, says Letterman, he's been arrested dozens of times.
You're going to arrest me for what exactly?
Blocking the sidewalk.
Officials say he was arrested for things like disorderly conduct, not for his artwork. But Letterman claims the cops told him it was because of his speech.
While they're putting the handcuffs on me, they're saying, hey, you know, we're really sorry, Robert. We know you didn't do anything illegal, but that's our orders.
Police wouldn't even comment on that. Now, Giuliani attributes much of the improvement in quality of life in New York to his enforcing laws which had long been ignored. Laws against vagrancy, aggressive panhandling, against those squeegee men who wash your car windows whether you want them washed or not. Letterman and others argue that those activities are forms of free speech, too. So Giuliani had no right to curtail them either. You know, people are happy that people aren't stopping us on the street and saying, spare change, spare change. We like that, and you're kind of like that. You're spreading your stuff around here.
Actually, I'm taking up about 2 inches of the sidewalk on my own car. But to answer what you're saying,
people like what Giuliani did.
People liked what Hitler did. Does that make it right?
The only reason I'm being arrested is because of the content of my message.
The danger is that if government decides when people may speak, that can lead to tyranny.
If you're going to criticize elected officials, you need freedom of speech because they command the police, they influence the courts. They're in a position to stop you from criticizing them.
That's it. The police and the government have the guns and the power. That's why the Constitution says Congress shall make no law abridging speech.
Anybody who remains will be arrested. Your demonstration permit has been suspended.
The founders thought guaranteeing us a right to talk back to the powerful was the best way to preserve our freedom. So what if you want to criticize not just a mayor, but the whole government? Is it all right to burn the American flag? Is this free speech?
These jerks who insist upon burning the flag.
We can't allow the U.S. flag to be set on fire, spit on.
Joint resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the
3 times the House has voted to ban flag burning.
We are not limiting free speech, which is what the Bill of Rights talks about. We are limiting offensive conduct.
By 3 votes, the Senate rejected the amendment, but in others, again, under consideration. It would make demonstrations like this one a crime.
What is it that constitutes being a criminal? Is it the size of the flag? I have a little tiny flag here, the size of a pea. I don't feel like a criminal yet. Maybe I need to burn a bigger one.
At this anarchist rally in Oregon, Libris Solar argues that we need to allow flag burning, to allow people to express disapproval of government.
Well, those were paper. Maybe it's a cloth flag. Maybe it's one that they consider real. Maybe if I burn that, I'll feel like a criminal. Don't ever give up the right to burn a flag in protest. It is your right.
Polls show this offends most Americans, but others argue that that's precisely the speech that needs protection.
The real test is whether you support the right of people who you think are absolutely disgusting to talk. Even really stupid and obnoxious stuff has to be protected under the First Amendment. That's the price of a free society.
Is it? And if we must put up with obnoxious political speech, what if the speech is less important?
4-letter words. And the one expletive that almost always gets deleted.
It's a verb. It's a noun. It's everything you want it to be.
So why is this bar owner forbidden to use it at work? Isn't it his own business? You can't say that. What's happening to free speech with John Stossel returns after this.
I just don't understand any of this.
Look, they turned us down. It was our credit. I mean, what's there to understand?
What do we tell Maria? She was so excited about the house. We shouldn't have promised her until we knew for sure.
She's a smart girl. She'll understand.
Nobody ever told us our credit meant so much.
Understanding your credit is the first step to owning a home. It's never too late to get it right. Call for the new free guide on credit from the Fannie Mae Foundation and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
Thanks, Tim.
It's Tom.
Tom, when you're as busy as I am, you tend to forget things. When it comes to office supplies, you got to be on the ball. That's why I like Staples.com. They send me emails reminding me when to stock up on the supplies I need to keep my office humming. It makes things easy. My days of forgetting are behind me.
Want to give him 10 more minutes?
Order anything, anytime, anywhere with overnight delivery. Staples.com. Hey, you don't have to run out.
Good evening, sir. Your finest table?
Reservation.
Perhaps you'll find it under Washington. George Washington?
Sir, that's only $1.
Only $1. Don't you know that with 10, 10, 220, all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents, and just 7 cents a minute after that. Plus, there's no monthly fee.
Great rates and no monthly fee?
All day, every day. Oh, 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 oh.
Walk this way.
Dial 10-10-220.
Combat Rangers. They're rough, they're tough, they're battle-tested. They're lean, mean fighting machines. When there's a battle to be won, Combat Rangers get the job done. Making backyards safe for democracy.
Now, tell me why they're wearing dresses.
The commander uniforms didn't arrive from China.
That's because you picked the wrong shipping company.
Next time, use the only U.S. express shipper with direct routes from China, FedEx. Be absolutely sure.
Matching night vision tiara sold separately.
This Saturday at Sears, something you want is on sale. Guaranteed. Take 10% off practically everything, even sale prices, during our huge customer appreciation sale. Yep, the whole store is yours, so is the sale. You can't miss that. Saturday at Sears.
Are you ready for the fat curl? Get one coat Color and Curl mascara from Almay. It doubles the size of lashes in one curling coat. No clumps. For fat, curlaceous lashes. No clumps in sight. Almay one coat Color and Curl mascara.
Friday, kick off your Oscar weekend with America's favorite show.
What's up?
Millionaire is going to the Oscars.
Our theater is packed and buzzing with anticipation, just like the real Oscars.
The Academy Award edition of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on a special night. Then this man has taken ordinary people and turned them into stars.
You like traveling?
Starting Friday, he'll try to do it again.
You can be replaced quickly.
The series premiere of Making the Band. It all starts Friday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Tonight on Nightline, they've tried to kill him. They call him the Godfather and the Devil.
He's one of the richest power brokers in Russia, and when Boris Berezovsky talks, the Kremlin listens. You'll meet him tonight.
You can't say that. What's happening to free speech continues. Here again, John Stossel.
Words are powerful. Socrates was sentenced to death because his words supposedly corrupted youth. Some people argue that words are like bullets and can wound like bullets. I've been wounded. People regularly say hateful things about me. A newspaper called my work blather, said I was the long fingernails on the blackboard of television. On ABC's own webpage, people keep saying vicious things. This hurts my feelings. Don't I have a right not to have my feelings hurt? Well, no.
These people are offended by a movie, Dogma. It's about, well, it's complicated.
Oh, he's back.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are angels who threaten the world.
We were awaiting your arrival.
Chris Rock plays a 13th apostle.
I've never heard of a 13th apostle named Rufus.
George Carlin's a hustler priest.
Fill them pews, people.
Pray for us sinners.
This is blasphemous, say some Catholics.
We didn't fight in the battlefields for this crap. We have to take this garbage?
You shouldn't have to take it.
We're not taking it. This is a hate crime.
This is a hate crime.
No question about it.
No jokes at all about religion.
It's too holy. Our faith is too holy. It's not a joke. It's our whole salvation.
Kevin Smith wrote and directed Dogma.
I'm a Catholic, and this movie doesn't insult me.
If I was the president, I would pass a law where you couldn't blaspheme a religion.
If you institute that law, then politics goes away, comedy goes away, filmmaking goes away, TV goes away, newspapers go away, news shows, like this one, go away.
Oops, that's the problem. Where do you draw the line? And who gets to draw that line?
We can select people, all for all walks of life, all religions, all...
Like a jury?
Perhaps, yes.
We have religious groups who would know what is blasphemous or not. So
they would decide.
Yes.
But what happens if one group gets to decide what others watch or read? Well, classics like Ulysses and Canterbury Tales and Leaves of Grass were once banned in America. Recently, some schools banned Harry Potter books. That doesn't seem right. But then what can the poor people who really and truly are offended do?
They don't have to go. Nobody's saying they have to go.
That's a point. You don't have to watch. Of course, other parts of the culture are harder to avoid, like the words in music or on radio.
Now, we all know how the media view the Catholic Church.
The priest in Dogma, comedian George Carlin, used to wonder which words were too offensive.
And I wanted to know the ones that you could never say on television. I mean, the always filthy. All I could think of was mother.
We're going to be listening to filthy words.
A New York radio station played a record of him saying those words.
The word mother is a compound word.
They went to the trouble of warning people in advance that a program was coming on that would look at so-called obscene language, and they warned everyone about it, said if you don't like this sort of thing, tune out.
One man in Florida, riding in his car with his 15-year-old son, didn't tune out. He complained to the government. Eventually, the Supreme Court banned Carlin's 7 words from all airwaves until after 10 p.m. Carlin says the censor should have been the driver of the car.
That's why they have a knob on the radio called off. But apparently they didn't turn it off immediately upon being offended. Listened to the whole thing, and apparently were not morally corrupted by the whole program, simply offended.
We've added a few words since then.
Now, we don't want to offend you, so we bleep the words.
And we've added then.
We figure you can get the point without having to hear the specific words. But it's one thing when a private organization like ABC censors, another when government does it.
So far has suggested...
Because we have lots of TV channels. If one censors, ideas still get out. But we have only one government.
Without objection, it's so ordered.
When government says no, it's no for everyone.
You know, we've lost so many of our rights and freedoms in the last 25 to 30 years, all in the name of protecting society, and it's bogus.
It's just part of my language. I mean, you know, I've used it all my life.
Some people refuse to give in. 66-year-old Leonard Carlo, who owns this bar in Colorado Springs, likes the F word.
And this and that, I really don't give a.
And he has lots of signs in his bar saying things like,
no children, animals, tabs, or checks. And on the women's, it had women, and over there is the men's, and it had men.
He just likes the word. So do many of his customers.
It's a verb. It's a noun. It's everything you want it to be. You can make a sentence out of it.
But one person complained to the state agency that licenses Carlo's bar.
They got that one anonymous phone call, right? And they send the Gestapo down there without this swastika. You came in like a stormtrooper, right?
The state removed signs that said were offensive to the senses.
The show is over, right?
Carlo was told he could not use profanity in his bar. Said the state, where alcohol served, profanity could lead to fights, and the state's responsible for public safety.
There's 700 other bars here, right?
I find it hard to believe they aren't swearing in the other bars, but too bad for Carlo. The law is the law.
A man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Determined to have at least one sign the government will have trouble removing, he went to a tattoo parlor and on his head tattooed the words,
"You leave me the alone."
Of course, now this means Carlo could be forbidden to walk into his own bar.
I love my country and I hate the government. And I do not think that you or they or them or anybody else has got the right to tell me what I can read and write and say, right?
Well, clearly, if you're in jail, you lose some rights. Does that include your right to hurt people with your last words? Fred Trish and 180 other inmates on Ohio's death row have been told by prison officials that at their execution, they will not be allowed to say any last words.
Is it too much to let me say how I feel, say I'm sorry, or say a prayer?
The court has shown great reluctance to expand.
Kevin O'Neill, who teaches First Amendment law at Cleveland Marshall College of Law, is helping him sue for the right to speak his last words.
Humanity requires that when a person is about to be executed, they should be allowed to say goodbye.
Humanity? These people were not humane themselves.
That's true, but it's different when the government is doing the killing.
He points out there's a long tradition of allowing those sentenced to death to give a last statement. It's when Nathan Hale said, "I regret I have but one life to give for my country."
I don't think we're asking that much.
Trish put a gun in the mouth of an unarmed security guard and pulled the trigger. He's scheduled to die in the electric chair. Trish argues that Ohio's denying him something even vigilantes granted those they were about to kill.
They asked him if he had anything to say. If they can give him the decency, why can't they give it to us?
Go on, Rocky.
Every movie you see on TV, they ask him if he wants a cigarette.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Got anything to say?
Do you have any last words? I ask your forgiveness for what I done.
When do you terminate my rights? When you kill me? When I'm dead?
Ohio banned last words after the trial of Richard Davis, who kidnapped and murdered this 12-year-old California girl, Polly Klaas.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of a felony, murder.
With the little girl's parents in the courtroom, Davis sometimes turned and made obscene gestures. Then, in his statement to the court, he claimed that before he killed the girl, she told him,
"Just don't do me like my dad. I have to pay my dues, so should you."
Hell, Davis.
There was no evidence that Polly was ever molested by her father. Davis's words only inflicted more grief on the family. Even though they weren't Davis's last words, it's the kind of vengeful outburst Ohio prison officials say they want to prevent.
If I really want to talk bad to them, all they have to do is sit there and listen for a few minutes, and they're going to watch me die.
The condemned are allowed to write last words well before their execution, just not to say them. But Ohio officials still haven't explained how they intend to prevent Trish and others from saying anything as they wait to be killed.
Don't you think he can still hear me? Do you really think unless they cut our vocal cords?
We're getting into extreme cases where no one has good answers. Let's move back to everyday life. When we return, censorship at work. What's okay to say about sex?
In the office, watch your back. Someone may be offended by what's on your computer screen.
They could sue and win.
Oh, they'd win.
Wait till you hear the new rules for the workplace. When you can't say that, what's happening to free speech with John Stossel returns.
I'm feeling lucky tonight.
At the JCPenney Lucky 25 sale. Get 25% off store-wide.
Feeling so darn lucky.
Plus, each store is giving away a $1,000 shopping spree when you play the JCPenney Lucky 25 sale sweepstakes.
Yeah. How's that dress? Fine. Just
The
fine.
JCPenney Lucky 25 sale. Get 25% off.
Get lucky.
Get moving.
Looking for a great deal on a rental car?
Don't worry.
Then click happy at alamo.com.
Drive happy.
Say you're heading for the sun with your husband. I said your husband, plus 3 kids, and 10 suitcases. With alamo.com, comparison shop, book your own car, and save up to 20%, even more in Florida.
Don't worry. Drive happy.
Click happy at alamo.com.
Drive Alamo.
In families, it's like what's mine is yours. Everyone shares everything, right down to the cold germs. With Kleenex Cold Care, you get 3 germ-blocking layers to help catch cold germs and keep them there. Hey, if there's one thing we can all be a little selfish about, it's our cold germs. Kleenex Cold Care, with or without lotion. Share the love, not the germs.
I adopted Cece at 5 months old. We have something special. I can't explain. We're always there for each other. And Purina Cat Chow is always there for us. More than great nutrition, Purina Cat Chow gives us access to behaviorists, nutritionists, and vets who can help us with all kinds of cat questions. Thanks to Purina Cat Chow brand, Cece's healthier and happier, aren't you?
Physical, emotional, complete. That's the Purina Cat Chow way of life.
Dr. Scholl's next stop, New Orleans.
So how do your feet feel?
That's pain.
Well, this is our Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insole.
It's like a spring.
The massaging wave system gives you more cushioning than regular gel ever could before.
It relieves tension in your feet.
It feels like it's massaging the foot. Dr. Scholl's, treat yourself right.
Well? I asked my doctor about Lipitor.
Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you. Or call 1-888-LIPITOR to learn more. Lipitor.
The rookies, the heroes, the legends in the making. The future of hockey is here. Sunday, it's Rangers Red Wings, Avalanche Stars, or Penguins Flyers. The NHL on ABC. Check it out. Sunday at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
TV Guide rates Jennifer Love Hewitt is totally Audrey.
She's charming.
Time magazine agrees. Hewitt delivers a dead-on impersonation. She has it all and charm to boot. Delicious. The Audrey Hepburn Story. ABC Monday at 8/7 Central.
You can't say that. What's happening to free speech continues. Once again, John Stossel.
Sexual harassment's an ugly thing. It's not surprising that Congress passed laws to try to stop it, but what do those laws really do?
You don't know my name, do you?
Ever see that Seinfeld show where Jerry can't remember his date's name?
What is it?
All he knows is that it rhymes with a female body part.
Nova?
At the end of the show, he finally remembers.
Oh! Oh! Dolores!
After watching in Milwaukee, Jerry McKenzie told a coworker about it. She didn't get the joke, so Jerry Xeroxed a page out of the dictionary.
I said, here's the word in question. And I pointed to the word. She looked at that and said, I know what that means. I don't want to talk about it.
She was offended?
Not that I knew. The following Thursday morning, she said, I need to tell you, you crossed the line.
McKenzie apologized, but they ended up arguing.
The next morning, I came to work and I was terminated.
His employer, Miller Beer, ironically sponsored that Seinfeld episode. Still, Miller fired McKenzie. McKenzie'd been accused of sexual harassment before, and Miller fired him for poor management judgment.
Once you've stepped over a line that the other person believes is offensive, you have to acknowledge it and back off.
Company lawyer Frank Daly.
What's the risk to Miller if you ignore her?
The risk is you're going to be sued, and the recoveries are going to, in many instances, have been very substantial. It's the lawsuit lottery.
Oh, yes. Big damages have been paid.
They basically gave women a loaded gun, that they could make any accusation they wanted, and it was going to be taken as truth.
That's not fair. The law says the victim has to prove her case.
The conversations about sex.
But proving your case can be quite a circus. Remember this? These hearings never determined what really happened, but they did put sexual harassment on the map. Clarence Thomas's career survived, but since lawsuits brought by an offended employee can cost millions, many employers find it safer to just fire the accused. That's what happened to Eddie Vega. He's an English professor who used to work at SUNY Maritime College until one day he allowed his students to pick a topic.
One student, a female, said, well, how about sex? You know, can we talk about sex?
It was for a writing exercise, and some students used four-letter words.
At the end of the class, had any student complained to you?
None. If anything, they have said only good things, that it was a wonderful and enjoyable exercise.
A month later, he was summoned by college officials.
The vice president, he said, are you telling me that these words were uttered in a maritime college classroom? I said, yeah. And he said, well, that is pornographic, and that is sexual harassment.
Vega was fired. His next job was a desk clerk in a little hotel.
I spent all this time becoming a college professor, and then in one fell swoop, it's ashes.
SUNY Maritime wouldn't talk to us about Vega's firing. After 3 years, Vega finally found a new teaching job.
Don't hold back.
He encourages his students to speak out, but he holds back. He says he and other teachers must be very careful.
What thought will someone find so offensive that I will again lose my job?
We've lost our freedom of speech. This sounds too grandiose, but this is exactly what freedom of speech is all about.
Eugene Volek, who teaches law at UCLA, says sexual harassment employers to become speech police.
The government is doing exactly what the First Amendment forbids. It's trying to set up a nationwide orthodoxy in all of the nation's workplaces. It's trying to say, these are the jokes you can't tell, these are the opinions you can't express, these are the words you can't use. And employers are listening.
You bet they are. Michael Bloomberg listened. Bloomberg rents out computer terminals that help people keep up with financial news. Doing this has made him a billionaire. So you'd think he could afford to let his employees say whatever they want. But sexual harassment laws frighten even him.
Companies should be scared?
Oh, absolutely. The list keeps getting longer of what kind of activities, what kind of conduct is and is not appropriate.
Even your personal email isn't safe.
It could be that two people are having a conversation where they don't mind the words. Somebody might walk by, look over their shoulder, be offended.
Yes.
They could sue.
Yes.
And win.
Oh, they'd win.
So, to be safe, Bloomberg put software in his computers that censor words he thinks someone somewhere might find offensive.
So, Sleeping Beauty can't prick her finger on the spindle.
That is true.
No regrets about that? You don't see yourself limiting speech?
Not at all. Oh, of course we're limiting speech. If your question is, do I have any regrets? Do I think it's wrong? I don't.
It's chilling how willing many of us are to give up our freedoms. Bloomberg's now censoring terminals in 100 countries. It's as if the most sensitive get to set the rules for the rest of us. A cashier at the Senate coffee shop, Bernice Harris, used to call people honey, baby, and sugar. Then a man complained that was sexual harassment. She was allowed to keep her job.
But I don't call nobody baby no more.
A city attorney in Tennessee ordered this painting removed from a government building after a woman complained. Some companies now ask employees who want to date a coworker to sign love contracts like this. Some forbid dating altogether, which is too bad since one study found married couples were more likely to have met at work than any place else. It's how Bogey and Bacall met, Tom and Nicole, Alec and Kim. I met my wife when we both worked for Good Morning America, but that was before all the new rules.
If you put in those kind of rules, then I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to miss out on possibly the relationship of their lives.
In Westwood, California, Todd Pozovac asked Linda Jaffe out a dozen times.
I think that I would have had a case for going to somebody and saying, look, this guy's really bugging me. You know, he's around all the time. He's asking me out all the time. Do something about it.
Fortunately, she didn't, because after 3 months of his pursuit, she fell in love, and they got married.
High five. High five. Clap. Brandon, high five.
Now they have a child.
I don't know how he put up with me for those 3 months, because I don't think I would have stuck it out, but I'm very grateful that he did.
Of course, that was then.
This was, 6 years ago. Now things are a lot more hypersensitive.
So sensitive, there's now a $10 billion industry devoted to finding harassment and rooting it out.
This is a business, not a bar.
One company shows workers this musical, which is supposed to sensitize the insensitive.
But hold off those compliments and rethink that smile.
We want to look at the kinds of things that just bristle you.
Consultants like Olivet Jones run sensitivity training seminars for companies worried about being sued.
Bottom line, Don't say anything you wouldn't want your mother to hear you say.
Companies pay Joan some $2,000 a day to educate employees. We assembled this group.
Don't talk about body parts. Don't give people sexual attention of any kind, whether you think they want it or not.
No body parts, no nice eyes.
Just understand that there are some consequences, because your nice eyes may be interpreted by somebody else as a totally different thing. So what does this add up to? Are you becoming a bland person? Yes, you are.
Not everyone's thrilled about that because it's
making the workplace a lot, more restrictive, cold, unhealthy, less fun.
Sometimes it seems as if today in America, instead of people competing to be more self-reliant, people now compete to see who can be most offended. It's not just sexual words that people object to.
At Carmel High School in Indiana, teachers were frightened when they discovered a student, Brian Conrad, had created a website under the address Time to Die. Turns out Time to Die is just internet jargon for keeping someone out of an AOL chat room, but the teachers didn't know that, and Brian on his site had listed the names of some teachers and, as a joke, said, "Are they Satan-worshipping demons? Laugh in their faces, shun them."
It was pretty scary because there's devils, there's pentagrams, my name's on it. Anybody could find this and send me a message. They knew where I worked.
Did anyone?
No.
But she and 2 other teachers felt so threatened by the website, they sued Brian and his family, demanding thousands of dollars in damages. They even tried to get criminal charges filed against Brian.
There's no direct threat. He just says, laugh at you.
Plus the word shun, and I know that I've got some students in my class that could really misconstrue what that means. And to some wacko kid, what's the connotation of shun?
If I'm not mistaken, Amish societies, if someone is shunned, they are considered dead. They no longer exist.
But
so
that's
if someone
really
is to
contorting it to make it a direct threat.
Why? That is not a normal vocabulary word that's going to be used.
But ignoring people is okay. It's a form of free speech. It's not physical threat.
You can ignore a statement and you can ignore for a short period of time, but to shun is permanent.
Some teachers named on the site, like Janice Groh, thought it was obvious that the site was a kid's joke, misspellings and all.
I know I'm not a Satan worshiper, and none of these people are Satan worshipers, and I thought it was silly.
And Brian was apologetic.
He came forward, he had tears in his eyes.
I guess that was a relief to find he'd admitted to it.
No.
Confession and later apology isn't enough for this group. They want punishment. His mom, Lori Hansen, can't believe what's happened.
He voluntarily turned himself in. Are they going to take this? It was a kid's prank.
No, this is not the way teenagers express themselves.
None of you was harmed.
But we were harmed emotionally.
Here's the lesson plan. If you do this, these are your consequences.
What are the consequences?
Consequences? For parents, it's money.
And criminal charges for the boy?
He was intimidating, and that is a criminal charge.
So what's the effect on Brian?
He feels like his life is over. That's what he keeps telling me.
Come on, ladies, toughen up. You're supposed to stand for free speech, the open debate.
Free speech means freedom to state an opinion. It does not mean freedom to slander and freedom to threat. And no matter who thinks it is or isn't a threat, I do.
There's that frightening threat to free speech. The offended get to decide which speech is okay. It's even written into sexual harassment law.
What is appropriate and what is inappropriate really exists only through the eyes of the person who's experiencing it.
The person who hears it gets to determine if it's offensive.
Absolutely.
But what if my intent is good?
Doesn't matter, John. If I shoot you dead, do you care that I didn't mean to?
But we're not talking bullets here. We're talking words.
No, they have the same power.
That's a dangerous concept. Yes, words can hurt, but if words are bullets, then it's okay to answer words with bullets. I think words are words and bullets are bullets, and it's important to our freedom that we keep them apart.
This speaker is outnumbered, shouted down on campus after campus. Stossel gets drowned out, too.
We can't hear you with these people trying.
Come on, everybody, louder!
What's happening to free speech at college? When You Can't Say That with John Stossel returns after this from our ABC stations.
Tonight at 10, look at this, robbery in progress. Now local police are hunting for armed thieves. Our crime team will have the story. Plus, cheaper gas and someone in uniform to give your car the royal treatment. It's right here in the Metro. And ever have this problem?
The vehicle was totally out of fuel. It wouldn't start at all.
See if this quick fill-up can rescue you on the road. Then Alex Trebek's final answer about being on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when you watch Eyewitness News 5 tonight at 10.
What's gotten into everyone? Ah, that's what. The 2000 Mercury Mountaineer. It's rugged. It's luxurious. And now it comes with $500 worth of gas from Total, plus $1,000 cash back. So stop by your Mercury dealer today and fill up with happiness.
We are doctors and specialists for over 80 years. We are a network of physicians offering a full range of services. We are people and technology. We are access to renowned hospitals, including St. Anthony Hospital. We are women and men committed to provide superior health care for you and your family. We are Oklahoma City Clinic. Oklahoma's doctors since 1919. Your doctors for life.
Need a job? Need a better job? Call the Feist 5 in Touch job line at 475-5000 extension JOBS or log on to KOCOTV.com. Choose from a variety of jobs and put your resume online. The Feist 5 in Touch job line could be your answer.
I'll let you know if rain chances are diminishing coming up at 10.
You can't say that. What's happening to free speech continues. Here again, John Stossel.
You'd think if any place would stand for free speech, it would be universities. Think the unthinkable, it says in one school's free expression handbook. Unfettered freedom is necessary to discover knowledge. Universities used to stand for that.
Today, something else is going on. Ward Connerly thinks racial preferences are wrong and goes to universities to argue that.
Our government should treat everybody the same. Equal protection under the law.
Now, as you can hear, this is not a universally popular idea. Treating everyone equally means an end to some affirmative action programs that help minority students get admitted to school.
I know it's your school, but you have a right to be civil. I'm here because I was invited to be here, and I thought that most of you would be willing to listen and to engage in civil discussion. But you cannot engage in civil discussion. Let me...
Here at the University of Texas, these students say Connerly's ideas are so objectionable, he should not be allowed to be heard.
They're going to try and spin this out and say that somehow his free speech, his First Amendment rights were violated. Our First Amendment rights as students were violated when he hit this campus.
You don't support First Amendment rights. That's what the First Amendment is about.
Students like this one who think Connerly should be heard also get shouted down.
It bothers you that a black man would be against your point of view. If that isn't saying...
The same thing happened here at the University of Michigan. It happens regularly to Connerly.
Sometimes I'm prevented from actually speaking because it's not just a matter of heckling. They will try to block the door from allowing me to get in. The game plan is to make sure that this guy does not get his message across.
You're threatening them.
That does not give them a license to go out and deny me the right to come on campus and to argue my point of view.
At Columbia University, a Connerly supporter was shouted down. "We win," celebrated the protesters, students like these.
I felt like it was a victory. The conference was completely disrupted, and that was exactly what we were hoping to do.
You can go back home to the sewer that you came from and, spout your ideas there, and that's fine.
You may not speak here.
Sure.
Some people might have wanted to hear him. Who gave you that power to decide for everybody?
I'm taking the power, actually, by going out and protesting, saying, "Racist, get off my campus."
Whoever yells the loudest wins? Isn't that like third grade behavior?
It's not third grade. I mean, if they get chased out of the city, they get chased out of the city. Their ideas aren't welcome.
Colleges have been where open debate was supposed to flourish.
Colleges are the worst places in the world often to have a civil discussion about any issue.
Get off this campus. We don't want you here.
I'm just trying to educate myself and other people with me.
I got a taste of it at Brown University when a few years ago, covering a rally against sexual violence, I did a politically incorrect thing.
What's allowed?
To spark debate, I questioned the activists' broad definition of sexual misconduct.
There's appropriate behavior. We can't hear you with these people trying to drown us out.
When some did want to speak, the demonstrators righteously shouted them down.
So, can I ask you why you're screaming that?
TV hype! Rape is not TV hype! Rape is not TV hype! Come on, everybody, louder!
At this school, something you'll learn is that there is one opinion, and the other opinion turns out to be wrong.
Where do students learn that censorship's the answer? Well, today, their schools often teach that by example. Many schools' official policy is to ban words that the sensitive would consider offensive.
Old Dominion University bans offensive sexual jokes. Virginia Commonwealth bans humor and jokes about sex that denigrate women or men in general.
Alan Charles Kors, co-author of The Shadow University, read us samples of things prohibited at universities. At the University of Maryland,
distribution of written or graphic materials that are derogatory. There would go most of the great writers in the history of world literature, and it bans as harassment sexual looks such as leering and ogling, licking lips or teeth. I hope you don't have dry lips at the University of Maryland. Or take your attorney with you to the cafeteria, holding or eating food provocatively. What our universities are teaching students is that freedom should die in their hearts.
Everyone wants to fight racism and sexism and hateful speech, but doing it with speech codes is an attack on freedom.
He made it at home, a realistic atomic bomb. The instructions are there at your fingertips.
Found 563 web pages simply for atomic bomb.
Freedom can be a real threat. When you can't say that, what's happening to free speech with John Stossel continues.
My new garden furniture is not only beautifully designed, it's designed to hold up to the elements. Victoria is powder-coated to resist rust. The Lazy Susan is made from tempered glass. Block Island is woven from durable rattan. Sonoma, made from hardwood, even weathers the snow. And no matter how hard it rains, Montecito's aluminum frames will never rust. See the new Everyday Garden Furniture collection, now exclusively at Kmart.
Why choose Transitions lenses?
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. B is very, very extraordinary. E is even more of what you adore.
Transitions lenses, the choice for comfort, UV protection, and the versatility of a variable tint that changes as the light changes. The choice you'll love. Call 1-877-4-TRANSITIONS.
Here comes that heartburn again. It happens time after time. You've changed your diet. You've tried to treat it, but the pain keeps coming back 2 or more days a week. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about America's most prescribed acid control medicine. Your results may vary, but for many people, 1 daily dose of Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible with the purple pill they call Prilosec.
Magnetic Springs, the perfect place to test our new magnetic insoles.
My feet ache like the devil.
Our Dr. Scholl's Magnet Energy insoles can help.
Each insole has a powerful magnet system inside.
Really cool. We believe in magnets around here.
Are you one with the magnet?
Feels good.
Treat yourself right at drscholl.com.
Are you ready for the fat curl? Get 1 coat Color and Curl mascara from Almay. It doubles the size of lashes in 1 curling coat. no clumps. For fat, curlaceous lashes, no clumps in sight. Almay One Coat Color and Curl Mascara.
Tonight, true or false?
Women never discuss size.
That's a lie! Huge lie. You're a liar!
Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher.
Do you know why you're here?
Yeah, I shot that cop over there. And this woman over here, I shot her too.
Oh. Oh.
Does that hurt?
No, it feels nice.
You're being admitted to the Riverview Hospital Comprehensive Psychiatric Emergency Program.
My job is to catch what I can't see. I catch ghosts.
This is the new drama everyone will be talking about.
I'll be okay, don't you think?
I do. Wonderland premieres next Thursday at 10/9 Central on ABC.
It's not just about saving money. It's about spending time, just dropping by and creating bonds rather than simply buying them. At Edward Jones, it's never just about investing. It's about knowing you and your dreams.
My every hope, my life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Investing in you and your dreams.
You Can't Say That. What's happening to free speech continues. Once again, John Stossel.
Free speech doesn't mean we can say anything. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. People could be trampled and you'd be liable. And what they call fighting words are illegal. If you tell rioters, beat that guy up, and they do, you're in trouble. Clear and present danger used to be the Supreme Court standard. Now it's inciting imminent lawless action. That sounds clear, but law seldom is. For example, can a book incite?
A homemade bomb is a terrible threat. One small device can kill so many people. Maybe we could stop bombings if we could block the know-how, keep people from finding out how to do this. How did Tim McVeigh learn to make a bomb out of fertilizer?
He could have got the stuff from my books.
Ragnar Benson lives in the hills of western Idaho. He asked us not to say exactly where. Benson's an acknowledged expert on all kinds of weapons and explosives.
Breathe that smoke and you'll notice your heart starts racing.
He writes books about them. Books like Homemade Grenade Launchers, Homemade C4.
This is a book that tells how to make a military-grade explosive at home.
Tim McVeigh bought it. He also bought Ragnar's Guide to High Explosives.
That's a fun book. And setting off explosives can be very recreational, can be addictive, just like a kid with firecrackers.
And useful to someone who, say, needs to blow up tree stumps to clear land. But Ragnar's books go well beyond tree stumps.
Serious survivors know that there may come a day when they need to demolish bridges, shatter steel, or derail tanks.
It's important for people to be able to defend themselves, he says, in case tyrants in government come after you in a tank. Your rifle won't stop a tank.
What you need is a flamethrower. One whiff of the dragon's napalm-scented breath will put attackers at your mercy. That's pretty good copy, isn't it, to sell books?
But what if people use his book to commit crimes?
I don't worry about it. I do worry about the personal lack of responsibility within our society.
The criminal is responsible, he says. It's time to stop blaming others, like authors of books.
I'm sitting here with a handful of books on homemade grenade launchers, guerrilla arsenal. I am presenting no harm to the world at all by possessing these books or by reading these books.
Claire Wolfe, who asked us not to show her face, writes books about defying the government. And that, she says, shouldn't be anyone's business but hers and her readers.
It is solely magical thinking to imagine that books or movies, quote, make people do things. People wish that if the books and the movies would go away or would be different, people wouldn't do terrible things. For instance, the Manson gang very famously blamed the Beatles for Helter Skelter. People who are looking for an excuse to do evil will do evil.
Yet this year, Benson's publisher told Benson his books on explosives are now illegal.
No dilly-dallying.
Because last year, Congress passed a law saying it's a crime to distribute information about making a destructive device.
we can't sell these books anymore, because if there's intent to violate federal law, we could be facing a $100,000 fine and 20 years in jail.
Even before the government banned books, private lawyers got some banned by suing the publishers. Paladin Press recalled all copies of Hitman after someone allegedly followed its instructions and murdered 3 people. The victim's relatives sued Paladin. Several major news organizations, including ABC, NBC, and the New York Times, all filed briefs on behalf of the publisher, defending its right to sell the book. The victim's lawyer says that's disgusting.
The media should have had the intelligence to be able to draw the line, but they haven't. Walt Disney, for God's sake, has come to the aid of Paladin Press.
The news organizations defended Paladin, saying if that book can be censored, what's next? ABC News? This broadcast? Against Paladin's wishes, its insurance company settled the suit. It paid several $1 million, and Paladin quickly pulled Hitman from the shelves.
The fact that someone was able to buy the book Hitman and then kill is almost coincidental. How many people have committed murder and assassinations without reference to a book like Hitman?
It turned out that Hitman's author was revealing no secrets about being a hitman. In fact, she was just winging it.
Hitman claims to be written by a professional assassin named Rex Farrell. Not true. It's written by a housewife. And where did she get most of the information? Off television.
That's right. She researched the book by watching detective shows. The uncomfortable fact is that even if the government banned Hitman and other books, the information would still be out there, unbannable. The explosives and weaponry detailed in Benson's books are found in library books, encyclopedias, magazines, survivalist literature, and newspapers. One convicted bomber says he found the makings of his bomb in the Reader's Digest.
Well, good grief. Here's instructions on how to make a rifle out of wood blocks and plumbing pipes. Here's one on how to make a homemade grenade. And here's what it is. Department of the Army Improvised Munitions Handbook. One of the best books in the world for learning how to blow things up.
Available to everyone from the government printing office.
I'm not providing anything that couldn't be acquired in another place.
Especially on the internet. Within hours of the Oklahoma City bombing, an internet user posted a description of the kind of device used. Censorship can't keep things like this under wraps anymore because of the internet. It can't really be censored. Police could shut down one site or 100 and block this or that channel, but there are millions of pathways. One site based in another country could still reach every computer in America. And what can be acquired is pretty amazing. When Nate Ciccolo was 15, he thought for a science project, he'd try to find out how to build an atomic bomb.
You just sort of mentioned, you know, you can go on the internet now and get information. And I sort of wasn't exactly up to date on things. I went on there and a couple of clicks, and I was right there.
Finding the information was easier than he'd ever imagined. He didn't have plutonium, thankfully, but he built a papier-mâché model that was dead-on accurate.
I just carried it out these front steps, carried it on my shoulder, and walked right to school with an atomic bomb on my shoulder.
And the government's passing laws to censor books. In the age of the internet, it won't matter anymore.
Found 563 web pages simply for atomic bomb.
The cork is out of the bottle.
Some final thoughts about speech and liberty when we return.
Stay up with us. Our crime team has the latest on the dangerous jail escapee on the run for 2 days.
Plus, a robbery is trapped on tape. Could you help catch the robbers?
And find out why this man made TV history on ABC tonight at 10.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $59.95 each with a lifetime guarantee. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Why choose Transitions lenses?
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. B is very, very extraordinary. E is even more of what you adore.
Transitions lenses, the choice for comfort, UV protection, and the versatility of a variable tint that changes as the light changes. The choice you'll love. Call 1-877-4-TRANSITIONS.
At ERA, we believe real estate isn't just about property. It's about people, understanding their needs, doing whatever it takes. It's helping the Perez family get a mortgage for their first home, then finding their movers, home warranty, even their home security system. It's giving the Simpsons an online profile of neighborhoods and school systems and helping them make sense of it all. Every time we help someone buy or sell a home, we help write a new chapter in their lives. ERA Real Estate.
$20 saved buying cowboy boots online. $25 overpaid on international shipping. If you're not offering your customers global priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service, they're paying too much. So offer it and keep them coming back. What's your global priority?
Fly like an eagle. When you buy a bargain PC, what you're really buying is a mystery box. Is the processor up to date? Who knows? Is the internet included? Doubt it. How about a free color printer? Don't bet the ranch. With a Gateway Essential PC, you'll know you're getting the best computer for the money. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and get a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor, a year of AOL, and now a free color printer for $999. That should take away the mystery.
This Saturday at Sears, something you want is on sale. Guaranteed. Take 10% off practically everything, even sale prices, during our huge customer appreciation sale. Yep, the whole store is yours. So is the sale. And you can't miss that. Saturday at Sears.
You can't say that. What's happening to free speech continues. Here again, John Stossel.
In America today, a dangerous new commandment's appeared. Thou shalt not hurt others with words. This is a terrible idea. It's a threat to liberty and even science.
Government repeatedly has tried to stop speech in the name of protecting someone from hurt.
The government tried to restrict speech that opposed slavery on the grounds that it was incendiary and that it was offensive. The government tried to restrict speech that promoted contraception on the grounds that it was obscene and indecent and pornographic. The government tried to restrict speech that was pro-labor and that was pro-socialist, that was pro-communist. Free speech is most important when it protects the speech we hate.
America's prospered because, despite occasional censorship, we are a relatively open society. No authority was allowed to decide which ideas were permissible. We argued often viciously until we reached a consensus. That's a good thing. Openness gave us vaccines. This was a crazy idea. Protecting people from disease by injecting them with a little of that very disease? In France years ago, thousands died because authorities said this was against God's will. America was the first to develop the atomic bomb because the Nazis banned Jewish physics. To explore relativity, Einstein had to come to a free country. It's a leap from science to laws against hate speech, but the principle's the same. In an open society, if we're to argue our way to the truth, then speech must be free. So the answer to hate speech is not speech codes, it's more speech. Yet there will always be an impulse to censor.
If we give in to that impulse, we are giving to the bigots the gift of our freedoms. If you give in, what you're saying is freedom is less important than not being offended. What a disaster for a country whose soul depends upon liberty.
That's our broadcast for tonight. Stay tuned to Nightline after your local news. I'm John Stossel. Good night.
You can chat with John Stossel online at abcnews.com immediately following this broadcast at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It's the Oscars Sunday right here on ABC. This year we're doing the show in 15 minutes. Honest!
Billy Crystal hosts the Oscars live Sunday on ABC.
You're watching KOCO TV5, Oklahoma City. Now, live, local, late breaking. This is